Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This week's show, we're talking about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the Season 2 premiere of Dandadan. Great season premiere. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Immediately picking up where Season 1 left off, we have Momo and her circumstances as it is, fighting off all those creepy men in the sauna being, well, creepy. And you're just like, okay, this is weird, disgusting, uncomfortable. How is Momo going to find her way out of this? And it's literally the place is kind of randomly falling apart. At first, I was wondering if she was doing it, but it's like, no, it's kind of happening around her. Literally, part of the wall falls down perfectly with her in the center of it and squashing the guy. I even love, like, if you look at it, like, there's one guy that's stuck, and he's basically kind of like an NPC that's stuck in place, and it's running, and it keeps, like, running into a wall. He has that type of animation, which I thought was kind of a nice little deal. It's just something just kind of, you could see in one corner of the screen, which I'm like, I just thought that's such a little interesting detail. But the reason why this is all happening is because Turbo Granny's here. Funny enough, she snuck into Momo's pack when she found out like where they were going, but it's like, even one moment's like, you could have just asked if you could come along. But she's like, oh yeah, I'm enjoying the springs, that's why I decided to come here, rest my weary cat bones. And interesting enough, she's like, right, I didn't do any of this to help you intentionally. It's like the place is already crappy and run down, but it's just that basically I'm exuding so much energy, all this stuff is just happening. I think that's supposed to be the irony of like, well, it's unlucky for everyone else, but lucky for Momo because of the Turbo Granny and Momo connection. But that's also the thing of, well, is that her lying? Is she secretly, unintentionally helping? Because, yes, Turbo Granny can be a dick, but we know just her story as is, that there is good to her. Even though she can be a dick, there is good reason for her to be a dick. And that maybe on some level, whether she'll admit it or not, she was actually consciously choosing to help Momo, or maybe it's a thing of, no, I am actually just relaxing here and I just happen to be releasing power that leaks out and happen to help you, but I wasn't doing that intentionally. I want to kind of give her the benefit of the doubt, but also she's such a jerk, there's a good chance she didn't do it intentionally. So we have that, and because of the mess, like some of the commerce group, the Chamber of Commerce shows up and is like, hey, you guys caused all this damage, didn't you? And still they're running for their lives. So it's like, okay, cool, they're dealt with, but not really, because then we find out those people are part of the Kaito family, or Keto family, and this is where I'll make a reference. This whole episode and this whole section kind of gives me Gannibal vibes, if you've ever read the manga or watched the TV show, which I need to circle back because I never finished season 2. Essentially there's a family in that series called the Gato family. It's like a small village. There's like the regular villagers, and then there's this very big family. As the title might imply or might not imply, it revolves around cannibals. And this family is a family of cannibals, and there's a tradition of cannibalism and stuff like that. So the Kaito or Keto family, I think it's Keto, not Kaito, but the Keto family kind of serving a similar purpose, because Momo meets with like the guy who wants to be a bootuber, but he wants to do stuff on his handstand, and he's telling her the story about, basically the legend is there's a volcano here. At the heart of that volcano is sealed away as a giant serpent. That serpent needs to be fed a sacrifice, I guess, every year. Basically, it's been fed for 200 years, and because of that, there's never been any like volcanic eruptions. It's also given a place a very special hot springs bath, and because of that they've also been able to use that as a means to kind of draw people in too as well. It kind of makes the sacrificing people easier, but yeah, they've been able to kind of benefit it for like 200 years. And I love Momo's takeaway from it all was, the thing that drew them, it's like, well, it's kind of BS story that my dad suggested we sell to people just to kind of get people like you to come check it out. And I love that Momo's only takeaway was, man, Okurun's not going to be happy about that, but maybe he'll be interested in the story. I was like, I love that. That's where her mind immediately goes. Like, oh my God, Okurun's going to love this. Oh, he's going to be disappointed, but maybe he'll love this story. It was like, that's so sweet. You're looking after and trying to find stuff that Okurun will appreciate, which is so funny considering he's dealing with his jealousy with Gigi. But we'll get to Gigi and Okurun soon enough, or Ken, But I love her takeaway from the whole thing was, well, why don't you tell that story on BooTube? And the guy's like, he never once considered it. So we'll see if that ends up kind of blowing up for him and he ends up becoming the BooTuber that he wants to be. once again, I just love like the different names that series and like anime and manga or webtoons or manhwa will come up with just not to use the term YouTube, like what their terminology would be. But either way, putting that aside, going over to Gigi and Okurun, they get visited from like the head of the Keto family, and them, her, and some other like aunties show up, making themselves at home. Turns out this place is owned by them, and they let Gigi stay here for free without paying rent. But they keep him on a strict, like, they restrict him because it's like, hey, you can't leave without our permission. Where'd you go? You weren't stupid and try to get other mediums. It's like, you're going to destroy the property value because people are going to believe all that BS, but there's no ghost here, yada, yada. And Gigi's like, no. Just wanted to go get my friend Okurun. He wanted to visit, so that's all I did. It's like, you're not lying to us, are you? Of course not. It's like, these women are scary. I mean, literally, the fact is their skin being the color that it is, you're like, are they supposed to be the snakes? I wonder, is it from like generations or what? Because like no one else in town looks like only the Keto family. Like I don't know if it's something kind of bestowed upon them because they're the sacrificial people or whatever. I don't know, or if that. I'm sure it's meant to just delineate them from the rest of the town and just be like, oh, that's a Keto family person, but I don't know. Once again, if you've never watched Gannibal or read Gannibal, there's a lot of parallels to this. Like I'm sure like some of that's probably pulled from like either mythologies or just general other stories have kind of used that similar premise of like kind of a crazy family. I mean, there's plenty of American stories that revolve around like a crazy kind of cult like family doing some like effed up stuff. So I'm sure but it's just like, once again, it's something fresh enough in my head. Because I don't think I didn't have that necessary. Because I don't remember if I went back and finished season 1 after Dandadan or season 1 ago. I think I did. I think it was like afterwards I went back. And so I have Gannibal a little fresher in my mind, even though like I still need to go back and finish season 2. So I think that's why I'm bringing it up more now than. I didn't really think about that point of reference when I was watching the season 1 finale of Dandadan. The more the people show up because it turns out the cops didn't do anything. Also, the mom of the Keto family just like, hey, yo, let me pull out the blicky. Let me pull out the shotgun being like, hey, yo, like, I have a hunting license. I could basically accidentally shoot you saying I was hunting bears. Like, oh, come on, you can't just like randomly point a gun at people. The police will show up. And the police officer shows up like, hey, what's up? I was almost concerned. I'm like, are you going to blast him? But no, he's their inside guy. It's like anytime the Keto family gets in trouble, he's the one that kind of brushes it away. And he's the one that's like, yo, you keep everything in line. If any of us ever get arrested, it's your fault. He's like, yes. And he's bowing to them. So one of the guys is like, oh, this Ken's supposed to be your best friend, right, Gigi? So, what's his favorite soccer team? And then he guesses, but the only reason why Okurun got it is because it's literally the poster they used to cover up the hole in the wall. So, but then like they ask about Momo, and they're like, oh no, who's that? And it's like, oh, we definitely know you're lying to us. And so by the time Momo gets there, literally Gigi and Ken had the piss beat out of him. And I was wondering, I'm like, did Ken not feel the need to I forgot, wasn't there a reason why he couldn't transform? I don't remember. I feel like maybe there was something that came up in the season 1 finale. Obviously, it's been a couple months, but I'm trying to remember, like, was there a reason why he didn't transform, or did he not want to use his powers against regular people? Even though, like, obviously it didn't stop Momo, but there might have been restriction on him using his powers here, and I just don't remember it. Momo seeing Gigi and Okurun in that situation, literally, I love, like, a combination of her using her powers and just literally kicking and punching, like using like martial arts, and I love that whole fight, especially when she was like charging towards one person and they try to attack her all at once, and one guy tried to hit her and she just like blocked with her power. I'm like, I love that whole sequence, especially when we got to the end and she was facing off against the mom. And I literally was like, when the mom was doing her thing, I was like, hey, yo, a spry grandma. Once again, this universe already told us since the beginning of the show, don't underestimate any grandmas. I even love that. Like, it's like, yo, what's up with this crazy grandma? And I even love Turbo Granny is like, well, she's just a crazy powerful grandma. It's like, no, that doesn't exist. And she's like, you literally have one. And Momo's like, oh, no, that's true. It's like, yeah, we've been proven a third time in a row, old ladies, beware of all older women in this universe because they are going to be monsters. In some case, literal, other case, like, metaphorically speaking. But also, like, when she does her super move and she says Jennifer, I was like, what? And then she says Lopez, I was like, Lopez, and she says Anaconda, I was like, shut up. You're so stupid. You're so stupid for that. Jennifer Lopez Anaconda, fuck you. That's so good. That's so good and so stupid. I love it. I love it so much. Because I talked about it recently, I will always remember, like, Salary Uppercut. Like, come on, some of the names of these moves, that's sick and that's so awesome. But yeah, now, like, it turns out, because Turbo Granny had mentioned this about Gigi's place being like, oh yeah, like, it smells like there's like it seeps of human blood. Like, there's been a lot of human blood spilled here. And now we find out why, because this house has always been, back in the day, it was the altar in which the sacrifices were made, and it's changed over the years. Other houses have been built on this property, but it's always remained the same, and so they've lured more and more people. So it's like, okay, so that has something to do with what happened to Gigi's family. So how does that partake in all this? Like, the thing Gigi's like saw that seems to have some effect on his parents seems to be separate from the giant great serpent that the Keto family is sacrificing people to. Like, we don't fully know, but we will get a better idea, kind of have an idea where that will go, just because, once again, I got a thumbnail from the trailer and I was like, is that supposed to be okay? So I don't know what that is exactly, but that seems to be like, what's going to happen to Gigi in the future. No spoilers, but once again, it's in one of the trailers. Like I said, I just don't know the context for what happens, but I'm assuming, just catching previews of next episode, I think we'll find out pretty soon. They're probably going to lump all of the stuff that happened to Gigi's family and everything to this, but these might actually be two separate incidents and things that just happen to be happening at the same time. Or, because it could just be like something here, like the giant serpent, like there could have been, like, whatever is infecting Gigi's home could have been drawn here because of all that death and stuff like that. Or they might be related just in some way we just don't know yet. But either way, like, Momo and both Okurun, Ken, and Gigi are all going to be used as sacrifices. And so, like, in the room with all those, like, talismans and stuff, she's sinking into quicksand. Luckily, Gigi and Okurun, like, help her. But not only them, but the entire Keto family falls into this place. Once again, I think it's just kind of nice. Poor Gigi not getting any help. Well, he falls on his own, and but Momo and Okurun, once again, they're in game, so you're just kind of like, can't help but notice those little moments like that. But either way, the Keto family is like, ayo, like, look, it's the Great Serpent, because it turns out to be, a Mongolian death worm, which Okurun just, like, read about it on their trip here. I like the little, like, how that was edited. It rewound to, like, them on the train and showcased it. But it's like, these things are usually, like, 1.5 meters to 2 meters at most. And how did it get this big? It's like, well, it's been chomping on human sacrifice for the past 200 years. And they're trying to explain, like, hey, yo, Keto family, that's not like some giant great serpent. It's literally a death worm you're feeding. And they're doing their dance. They're like, yeah, they're not part of the Keto family. Eat them, eat them. I'm like, that thing's going to eat you guys, right? Because they're focusing so much on them dancing, and then they get gobbled up. Now, whether they're dead or not, who knows? They might be full-blown Geppetto, Jiminy, and Pinocchioing it inside of Monstro. It's a giant roundabout way of just saying, hey, they might be alive in this thing's stomach until it digests them, and they might be like, well, this is where we belong, blah, 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 blah. We'll see whether we've seen the end of them or not. But now they have to hide out from this thing. But then the moment they get inside, Momo passes out, and then the powers inside of Okurun start running wild. So I guess because she passed out from whatever reason, like, she's not there to kind of keep the curse in place anymore. I think it's just probably the justification for it. But she doesn't need to anymore, right? Oh God, I'm blanking because, like, Ken doesn't need her to keep the curse in place anymore. So, but I guess whatever it was affecting her started affecting the power. Like, I guess maybe it's more like she fell unconscious and so did Ken, and because Ken's unconscious, he's not there keeping the power at bay. And it's, so I'm wondering, is it having any effect on Turbo Granny inside that cat or whatever? Who knows? But it seemed, because it seemed like they were in the light. But I'm also curious, is it because they're not regular people? Like, Gigi kind of stepped towards the light, but nothing happened to him. But it might be because Momo's got those powers, so she's not a normal human. And Ken's got Turbo Granny's power, so he's not a regular human. So maybe they're being affected in that way. It probably has something, maybe that thing kind of almost has like a... Anglerfish isn't the right thing I'm going for, but it's an easier thing of like an anglerfish will draw you in with some like bait. Like maybe this thing kind of almost has like a hypnotizing light meant to make it easier to like gobble you up. Maybe, I don't know. That's where things end at the end of the episode, but it'll be interesting to see where all this takes us going forward into the next episode. So excited to have Dandadan back, and we're so interested to see where this storyline goes, but also where this season takes us in general. As we see with the opening and closing, there might have been like maybe 1 or 2 more new characters we're getting this season. I'm curious to find out who the hell they are, so. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.